Hi, my name is Jason,
And I'm Melody.
and today on the Village Clinic Soul Clinic podcast, we're going to talk about desire, and specifically, if you end up taking the desire cure, I think it's a fifth step of the process of desire, which is following through on your desire regardless of the outcome. And this step is really important because it's in this step that we find out that we're truly living the journey of life for our own pleasure, our own fulfillment, our own discoveries. And when we can click into particularly that step of the desire process, we can kind of release ourselves from the grip of needing success or needing to people please or someone to be happy with our performance or for things to go exactly as we would hope or to be thanked for what we've done. Because when we feel that energy of desire and we move through it and follow through with it all the way, regardless of the outcome, there's an inherent sense of fulfillment that comes from that follow through. So my question for you today, Melody, is where have you noticed this step come up in your life, in your practice of desire?
So the deeper I go into my Dom work and my session work, and in this I am really just following my desire every step of the way, and it is such a creative career of choice that I do have the liberty to really kind of follow whatever comes through, especially in session. I noticed the other day, after particularly different and risky type of session that I had, that there's this feeling I felt in my body when I was walking home where that thread of self-loathing or the thoughts that I would have of comparison or kind of always trying to calculate what I'm doing to get ahead, those thoughts kind of just left. And the feeling that I had in my body was this feeling of self-possession or just feeling so on the spot, so aligned. It's not what I imagined that to feel like. It just kind of felt like it was very neutral, and I didn't notice it until I spend time digesting all my sessions and feeling through it the best I can afterwards. And that's when I really noticed the difference of the noise in my system had become so much quieter. And then in contrasting how I felt in that moment and how I feel now to how I felt 6 years ago, it's just very different. And I can see the difference how I was walking through the world, really just not living as myself. I was working in corporate, I was drinking all the time, I was in a relationship that really went past its expiration date. There was so much fight in my system that I couldn't even recognize as fight anymore because it was just like the waters I was swimming in. It feels so different now, feeling like, oh, I'm doing what I'm here to do, at least for right now. Like right now, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I'm just so clear on that when I make decisions, that's the sensation I'm following. Like, okay, I know what this feels like. So when a decision is in front of me and I can feel into it, like which one leads to more of this feeling versus that other kind of always having to mentally justify things or make things make sense. It's a very clear and different feeling. And I didn't expect that to come from just doing the things that I wanted to do.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, just to, I guess, re-emphasize that point that following through on our desires, regardless of the outcome, gives us an intrinsic sense of reward. There's a famous psychologist, I think it's Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, wrote about flow and this sense of we hit the flow state. There's all these sort of triggers that allow us to get into the flow state, such as a task that is just slightly out of our comfort zone so that we're in the process of discovery while we're engaged in it. 5 other factors, but part of flow is this feeling that we get of intrinsic satisfaction. That this feeling of joy or excitement that we experience in the process of it, having tried or even accomplished more than we thought we could, there's just this intrinsic sense of fulfillment that comes from following through on your desire, regardless of the outcome. One of the big obstacles in terms of outcomes that we want can be other people's approval. Maybe we currently have people in our life that are kind of disapproving of our desire or who we're becoming or who we're meant to be in this life. Maybe we have a sort of like these memories of people who disapproved of desires we had, and we're the ones then sort of criticizing or judging ourselves as we're engaging those desires or we're contemplating participating in them. And so to be able to separate your own intrinsic motivation and then your own intrinsic satisfaction from other people's approval or disapproval is a key feature of following desire, which is your soul's evolutionary life force and is how we're just in this eternal flow, this eternal becoming who we are in this life. So those are the talking points for today. Thanks for joining us at the Village Soul Clinic podcast, and we will see you next time.
Bye.